I have not covered Ben Shapiro in a long time. And I'd like to explain to you for 30 seconds why. Because he has nothing of value to say. Look at that, I did it in 5. So why are we covering this, might you say? Because I said this summer I was going to go light politics and do more art and more beautiful related stuff and gaming and show you games that I want to play. And if you don't want to watch, it's okay. And if you do want to watch, cool. Sometimes, though, you just gotta humble yourself. So let's give it up to the man. Biden admin wants the UN to investigate U.S. systemic racism. Oh boy, wonder where this is going.
Antony Blinken literally wants to have members of the UN come and judge American racism.
Please. Fuck you. No, fuck Ben Shapiro. I said that. I said that in my, the very, fourth video, the fourth or fifth video I ever made when I became the paradigm shift. That I said that. I said that the UN should help us. I remember that. I was like, where's the UN? You don't see all this police brutality. You don't see them cracking down. Where's the UN? Fuck you. Yeah, wow, super racist, 10 out of 10. This shit breaks the Richter, dude. They're gonna do it like a food rating in front of a restaurant. On the Statue of Liberty, they're just gonna print a big E or F, some shit, and it's if you want to get that rating off, you're gonna have to do a much better job. If you want to measure American racism, you better have a logarithmic scale. Oh my God. 10 to the E. 10 to the E.
That's pathetic, and it's anti-American.
What the fuck? It's 6 seconds, guys. I can't do this. I'm reactionary. I can't do this. You can't. I hated somebody on YouTube that was like, you pause the video too much. Wait 5 minutes and then add what you want to say. It's if I don't break this down sentence by sentence, you think I'm cherry picking when I want to speak. If I talk about everything, fuck y'all.
It's not about spreading American values abroad. It's not about liberating people. It's about forwarding democratic domestic political interests. It's all wag the dog crap.
Did he try to say dog whistle and it came out as dog the wag the dog? Wait, go back.
Political interests. It's all wag the dog crap.
Wag the dog crap. Is he trying to say it's dog whistle bullshit? Racism is an American value. Yo, what the fuck? 14 seconds. And the entire beginning of this video is off. Just straight up off.
Alrighty, so meanwhile, the Biden administration, while declaring that, American racism is at an all-time high and that Jim Crow is on the way, while they run the entire government, by the way, they are now...
Even he's saying the thing out loud then what the fuck, bro? It's 3.29 million subscribers. Should I just be a right-winger? I could do that. Just literally come up with a piece where everything is correct and objectionably fact-checkable and all this and that, and then literally just make the antithesis, say the opposite of everything. I'm just fucking George Costanza. I'm just going to be George Costanza. I'll do the opposite. And I'll see where that gets me.
They're pursuing an anti-American policy. It's an anti-American foreign policy.
Anti-American to who? Which of the Americans is it anti towards? All of us?
I don't know how else to describe this tweet from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Now, I've given Blinken credit in the past for example, saying some relatively decent things about the Israel-Gaza conflict, for example. I've given Blinken and the foreign policy team some credit for the things that Joe Biden said with regard to Vladimir Putin, but this is truly egregious. And the fact that it's been largely overlooked by the media is insane to me. So he tweeted this out. I completely missed this until one of my producers made me aware of it this morning. It's wild. Secretary of State Blinken tweeted this, quote, "Responsible nations must not shrink from scrutiny of their human rights record. Rather, they should be transparent with the intent to grow and do better. That is why I'm announcing a formal invitation for the UN Special Rapporteur on Contemporary Forms of Racism to visit the United States."
Okay, his take on this, we're going to be Predict Champ Andy. Ready? His take on this is that the scrutiny of the human rights record has something to do with Republicans and Trump. And this is an attack on people who support Trump because they have American values that the Democrats want to destroy.
This is patently mad. I mean, it's crazy. The United Nations is Mos Eisley of international politics. It is a wretched hive of scum and villainy. The notion that we should have auditors from Sudan and China and Russia and Malaysia and all of these other countries that can't hold a candle to us in terms of human rights come and audit domestic American racism. It's a political tool by Antony Blinken, which so often foreign policy is to Democrats. Right? This is why Barack Obama, in his very early days, before he was even president, did a European tour. A lot of people in the United States were saying to themselves, why is Barack Obama, a senator in the United States, running for the American presidency, attempting to go abroad and do speeches in like Berlin and Paris?
Because the president should only care about the United States and not other places. Even though we have military presence in other places, the UN won't even like. I'm not even doing this anymore. I'm not even doing this anymore. We do not recognize abortion as a method of family planning, nor do we support abortion or reproductive health assistance. This could lead to misinterpretation of international trade obligations in a manner which may negatively affect countries to incentivize new drug development. We believe the resolution represents an effort by the United Nations to advance global governance at the expense of the sovereign rights of states to manage their immigration systems in accordance with their national laws and interests. So Ben is lying. Ben is bad faith.
And the answer is because what Democrats really wish to do is suggest that other countries, their opinions ought to matter with regard to domestic American politics. The rest of the world is judging us. It's sort of Greta Thunberg syndrome writ large.
Told you.
They're judging you. They're judging. And so Antony Blinken literally wants to have members of the UN come and judge American racism. That's pathetic, and it's anti-American.
How? If he says it in the next 3 minutes, I'll agree with him on whatever he says. But explain to us how.
No one has the moral stature to come into the United States, the most racially diverse place on Earth, most racially diverse democracy on planet Earth, and most racially tolerant diverse democracy on planet Earth, by the way.
Shit take.
And then start lecturing us on how racist we are. And the fact that
lecturing us on how racist we are. You're getting judged, bro. They're not going to come in and teach lessons. You're getting...
This administration is welcoming them in. They're welcoming them in the same way that the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland is going to go into police departments and simply make up reports about how police departments are racist and then cram down consent decrees. The idea here will be the UN issues a report on how terrible and racist America is. And there it is magically. The only way to alleviate this deep and brutal and abiding racism is to do all the things that Joe Biden wants to do. So Joe Biden and Antony Blinken can't convince you that America is racist and terrible. So they will bring in international institutions to call America racist and terrible and deride the United States on the international stage so that they can say we need to do all the things we already wanted to do because, after all, the world expects it of us. It's not who we are. It's so shameless and it's so yucky. Okay, the reality is that, as I talked about...
The grifter's getting too thin. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his eyes. Ben Shapiro's grifter's getting thin. That thread of thought didn't make sense. Because every time you're confronted with an opportunity to actually have your ideas displayed, what if they came into the country and realized, oh shit, it's not as racist? Do you think that they're automatically going to say you're the worst ever? The UN does that to other countries. Checks on their human rights. We've had literal video reports of it. What are you afraid of? If you're saying that this is not who we are and it's anti-American, what if they come up and support your thesis? Wouldn't testing it be the ultimate show to say, see, fuck the Democrats. The left was lying all along. We told you the storm is coming. Trump 2020, 2024, 2028. No human rights violations here. We're not a racist country. All you black people are just acting up. They just see, like, they're giving you the tool. They're giving you the tool. Just take the fucking tool. Just like the impeachment, just like the commission on January 6th, you don't take the tools. They're handing you softballs. If I was a Republican, I could sweep. You have 3.29 million subscribers. And that's the thesis that you have? Still not telling me how it's anti-American. It's telling me how reckless it is for other people to do the thing, but like, we don't do the thing. So if we're not doing the thing and Joe Biden's in charge and he's not doing the thing, why wouldn't we have somebody else do the thing?
On the show yesterday and the day before, to most people who are seeking freedom on planet Earth, the United States is the place you go. The United States is the place you go for racial tolerance. The United States has a higher household income for Nigerian Americans than does for white Americans, has a higher household income for Asian Americans than for white Americans. For a supposedly white supremacist country, we're doing a horrible job of it here in the United States. And yet, the continuous push from the Democrats is that America is deeply racist, and the whole goal here is to mobilize minority voters who supposedly are going to fight the revanchist Republican racism that inevitably will fall, despite the fact that, again, it does not exist, and it is very silly. Now, all of this is part and parcel of treating American foreign policy as basically a domestic political weapon. It's not about spreading American values abroad. It's not about liberating people. It's not about ensuring a safer and more secure world for American interests. It's not about any of those things. It's about forwarding democratic domestic political interests. It's all wag the dog crap. It is all about doing things that benefit.
Did he just repeat himself 2 minutes in?
The Democrats politically, domestically. I mean, that is why Joe Biden is pulling out of Afghanistan. Make no mistake, that is not about forwarding American interests. It's not about making America more safe, and it is not about protecting American troops. It is about Joe Biden wanting to be able to say that he withdrew from Afghanistan, unlike all of his predecessors, and then thinking that the American people are going to cheer, even as women are stuffed back into burqas and stuffed back into basements, and the Taliban take over the country and continue to foster terrorism in the region.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
NBC News now reporting the Trump administration intends to draw back more than 4,000 troops from Afghanistan by the 2020 election. The U.S. has between 12,000 and 13,000 troops in Afghanistan now, and the announcement comes just days after diplomatic talks with the Taliban resume. Joining me now from the White House North Lawn, NBC News correspondent Hans Nichols, also with us this hour, Tom Nichols, national security expert and USA Today columnist. Let's start with you on this, Hans. Put this into context for us and, again, the exclusive reporting that we have.
So my colleagues Courtney Kuby and Carol Lee have broken this story that the White House intends to announce as early as next week. The administration intends to announce as early as next week this drawdown of troops. Now, this is significant for a whole bunch of reasons. Remember, it was about 2.5 months ago that you and I were talking, maybe more 3 months ago, that you and I were talking about that time that President Trump invited the Taliban to Camp David and then canceled it abruptly and said all talks with the Taliban were off. But at that point, the intention of the president was very clear that he wanted to bring down troops. At the time, we thought there were about 14,000. They're actually around 12,000. Bring that number down to about 8,000.
Wanting to be able to say that he withdrew from Afghanistan, unlike all of his predecessors, and then thinking that the American people are going to cheer even as women are stuffed back into burqas and stuffed back into basements and the Taliban take over the country and continue to foster terrorism in the region.
So that little divergence showed me that you are literally ignoring the purpose of why anybody withdrew from Afghanistan all the way from 2010 to now. Interesting. Very, very, very fucking interesting.
Because Joe Biden wants the political win. It is that simple. And now, when Secretary Blinken is welcoming in UN special reporters to talk about American racism, you know how much I care about what the UN has to say about anything having to do with morality? This turd bucket of an organization? I could not care less what the UN has to say about anything. The UN is a despicable dumpster fire of an organization where we're supposed to take seriously countries like Yemen on human rights. No. The answer should be, by any patriotic president and any patriotic administration, no. But instead, we're actively seeking out the opinions of the UN on American racism, which, of course, is designed solely to create pressure domestically.
Ben Shapiro's a grifter. He's been nothing else but a grifter. Here, I'm going to lay it out for you. 2 years. I'm going to take 2 years. 2 years. 2 years, and in that span of time, you're going to find out something very, 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 very backwards about him. It's going to slip some way. 2 years. I'm giving him 2 years. That's a load of bullshit. That's a load of, we literally spent 3 minutes Googling shit and was able to put down that piece. He's a grifter. Wow. Wow, that's ill-informed. That there was nothing but like insults. There was no ground reasoning. There was nothing. There was nothing in there.